So, welcome along to SBR Sim Racing Group and a new series to bring you on Gran Turismo Sport. And it's, as you'll see very shortly, British Touring Car Championship Legends. Basically, the drivers can pick any driver they want from British Touring Car history to run their livery on a Group 4 car that was provided by the organisers. There's the point system, 24 for a win down to 1 point for 10th place, just to keep the racing interesting, with 16 guys all fighting for those points. And you're about to see that it was very, very interesting. Qualifying saw Nathan on pole from Lewis, Ben, Sean, Dylan, Liam, Jason, Jeff in 8th, Ian in 9th, 10th for Coleman, 11th was Leon, then it's Andrew, Ashley and Chris at the back. So yeah, that's going to make it for fun racing. Watch out for row 2 with the 4-wheel drive cars. Getting into the racing then, and what a spectacular sight with 15, I believe it was, or 14 or 15 cars on the grid. And Nathan there with Will Hoy livery on pole. And it's the Ingram livery. A couple guys jumping the start there, they'll get penalised for that, but off we go, and straight through the middle goes Ben. And you also see Sean getting a great start, but Ben's alongside Nathan into turn 1, trying to go around the outside. Nathan's not lifting, but they both get by. Both seem to have survived as they head into Druids for the first time. Ben covering off Nathan, with Sean also trying to go around the outside. That's not going to work. Liam's also side by side with Dylan. A lot of contact in the background. Ashley sideways, and at the back is Jason at the moment. But as they head down through bottom bend now and in towards 30s, Ben leads from Sean, and a cheeky move there by Lewis down the inside of Nathan, who was too busy trying to fight with Sean. And all the BMWs there getting in strife, and we seem to have lost Leon there at the back. But heading down the back straight now and flashing the lights is Sean, and Lewis holds on against a really fast and straight line. I'm sure we'll see more of that later. Nathan in the Hoy car. Leo makes a move on Dylan, and that's a great move through Westfield there and into the back of the circuit now. And Ashley also trying to make a move on Jeff up the inside. A bit of contact, but that's touring cars, and he makes the move into Sheens. And yeah, a few other guys there making progress. Unfortunately not is Leon. Anyway, about to complete the end of the first lap, it's Ben, Sean and then Lewis, with Nathan dropping back a little bit and Liam starting to challenge. And then we can see Dylan, and it looks like Ian just behind that. Ian with a great start. Here's the replay of the start incidentally, and this is on board with Sean and Ben straight through the middle of both of the front row guys. And we are on board with Sean, and we can see back now that he's got a great start, and contact between the two BMWs with Dylan and Liam, but both survive to fight another day. Coleman in 8th there, with Ashley also having a great start. And here is Jeff around the outside of Jason. Great move, with Chris just holding them off. Chris doing a good job. Not had a lot of practice, I know that much, but doing really well in the Jason Plato livery car. And that looks like Jason's off. Jason's off. Will he touch the barrier? Oh, he's taken off one of the signs. A little bit of contact, should be okay. Meanwhile, Sean is really starting to turn the screw on Ben's Ford Mondeo. Sean in the Alfa Romeo livery there. And they head down the straight. Looks pretty even on top speed. Nathan in 4th there. We know that Lexus has got a little bit of top speed more than anyone else, and Chris is on the grass. I know the Subaru's good for off-roading, but that's taking it to the extreme. Ben leads though as they go through Westfield again. Sean just still applying the pressure, will not give up. And these two look very, very evenly matched. Both cars from the same year, incidentally, 1994 there. The Tarquini livery and the Rouse livery. It's Rouse that's leading at the moment. And Ian there put the wheel off in the McNeil liveried car. Nathan though starting to get back into this race. He's dropped Liam this lap. Liam's actually got more pressure from Dylan, who's moving through. Head towards paddock for the third time. Nathan a little bit sideways. I can see Dylan's a little bit wide. It is Liam that's in 5th place, and Coleman in 8th, Ash in 9th there. midfield slightly spread out at the moment, and there's Andrew. First look at Andrew in the Barry Sheen liveried car. Barry Sheen only did a couple years in British touring car racing, but enough for Andrew to pick up the livery and run with it. And it looks like Nathan's looking a bit menacing, as well as Dylan. This is the fight of the track at the moment. Nathan with really good top speed. Can he take it to Lewis down the back straight? Down into Pilgrim's Drop, into Hawthorns. Nope. Oh, round the outside, he's going to try it. That's a bit audacious. I didn't even think he would try that. He's done it. And Lewis has had no choice but to let him go. So the Lexus gets him in position. Lewis flashes his lights, probably more in shock than anything. But the position is Nathan's, and he is moved up into third as we see the midfield guys running through. Andrew there in the Sheen liveries we mentioned. And there's Chris in the Plato livery, and that is Leon, who hasn't got a livery yet, but it's on its way, I promise you. Through again. Will there be pit stops in this race? There's talk of it, but it's a risky business because you lose a bit of time, but you do get quite a good advantage out of new tyres. Dylan doesn't care about new tyres right now. He's trying to get down the inside of Liam. Liam holds him off with a late braking move as they head through paddock and into Druids. But there's Coleman. He's having a bit of a lonely race, but Jeff's down the inside of Big Kid Daddy, sorry, Ian, as we're calling him. And there's Andrew again. And Jason looks like he's just recovering from a spin there as well, actually. So again onto the back straight, and Sean still holding on to the coattails of Ben. Nathan with Lewis right behind him. Lewis doing a cracking job there. Despite being overtaken by Nathan, he's hanging on slightly. And Ben just does a slight lead. That's probably the biggest lead we've seen him have in the race so far. Nathan moving in slowly, the pole sitter, so we know he's got good pace. And out on the back of this track, and what a sight seeing all these cars fighting for position like this. Again, we think pit stops will be crucial and expect a lot of the midfield men to try it. I've heard that Coleman's going to be one of them, and here he is on screen right now actually, taking a lot of curb through Sheens or Dingledale as I know it. Ian's off though. Ian's off there and gets it all back for Sterling's. Jeff senses an opportunity, but not at this time. These guys have been together most of the race, and Andrew just behind, keeping a watching brief as Jason starts to move in towards Chris there. And well, it'll be interesting. We're getting towards pit stop time, but maybe not quite this lap. Some people might gamble on it, but all the field now starting to close up, and there's going to be a few battles towards the end of this race. I can see it happening. We've had the calm before the storm, I believe. We've had a few overtakes, but I predict it getting a bit more juicy. I think Nathan's got something to say about it. You can see the two BMWs in the background. They've been battling quite a long time now as well. Two BMWs of Dylan and Liam. That is Liam in the Turkington car and Dylan in the Tordorf car. Coleman having a bit of a lonely race in 7th. Ash there in 8th in the Matt Neal Primera, and then the Matt Neal Vauxhall Vectra is behind with Jeff in the David Leslie Nissan Primera livery, making a move, kicking up the dust, giving maximum respect to Ian, but he won't get round the outside, I would have thought, especially that far back. You can think about the cutback, but I don't think that's on at the moment. And the tail end men coming through is into Sterling's as we go again, and now Nathan is visibly closer to Sean. And we know if he gets a sniff of a chance down down any one of these straights, that Lexus Toyota, same thing I guess, will be passed, because it's got great straight line speed. Suffers a bit on the starts because being rear wheel drive against the 4-wheel drive cars, and Coleman indeed does pit, so the rumours were true. Cross the grass there and into the pit lane. Coleman pits for 4 tyres as we watch the crew go to work. It'll be a pretty quick stop, but he's taking a risk. He had pretty much 7th sewn up, so well, if we can get 6th, then it was worth it. And also Chris making the move into the pits thinks it's a good idea. Nothing to lose really from 13th, and the Vauxhall Astra comes in with the damage on the front and rear. Jason Plato 2019 livery, and look, Nathan is now right on the back, and he makes his move down the inside. Surely this is a slam dunk down into Pilgrim's Drop, and it's the power of the Lexus gets him past the Alfa Romeo liveried car, and the Toyota liveried car takes second place. But Sean won't take that line down. He's a feisty Scotsman, and he won't give up. And in fact, he's attacking straight away through Dingle-Dell and then into Sheens. He's thinking about it, but it's not really on. He might even think about a pit stop, but as you can see, Lewis is just there, and then Dylan and Liam as well. Liam with a penalty, and Dylan is through. So are the two attached? And Dylan's off. He's gone grass cutting, but maintains his momentum. Liam can't get through. Liam with that penalty probably went off a little bit and took some of the penalty because it's only 0.3. I think the least you can get is 0.5, so he's trying to take the penalty, and Dylan's probably got through, so he's pitted for new tyres. Nothing to lose now in his eyes from 6th place, and that will make Liam very quick at the end, because I can't see any of the leaders coming in now. It's probably too late now. This was the last lap really you want to think about pitting, and Ash has also done it. I think Ash was running in 8th or 9th place at the time, so quite risky. And Leon's in as well. His livery is in the pipeline. He's just deciding which one to pick, so he's picked this GoPro sort of fantasy livery for this race, but he will be in the British Touring Car livery for the next rounds at Kyoto. Dylan now moving forward towards Lewis by the looks of it. Liam on his fresh tyres though, with a lot of space to run into. That's always dangerous. The new tyres will probably give you about half a second a lap on the guys, and the story of the race for these two, they're side by side, and Jeff looks like he's got at least alongside him this time. You can do the outside move, we've seen that before, but not going to work this time. Tries a little switch back. Ian's got it covered though, as he no. Jeff's down the inside, that's brave, and takes the place into Westfield, so that is an impressive move there. Can he hold it through Dingle-Dell? Here comes Coleman with his fresh tyres. Surely it's a matter of time before he gets past these two guys who have decided to stay out. But no, not quite at the moment. Ian runs a little bit wide onto the curb, maintains the place. Andrew's another one that's decided to stay out, and here's Ash with his fresh tyres. Jason having a bit of a dismal race. He has the pace, but not track position after a couple spins, so I'm sure he'll learn from that and put it all into practice for the next race. Nathan though, despite getting past Sean there, isn't really closing in on Ben. If anything, Ben's pulling away in the Mondeo liveried car, and Lewis still not giving up on these two. I know they're friends, and this is door handle banging, and Lewis retakes the place. Dylan's trying to relieve him of it, and gets a good run out of Surtees and down now towards Pilgrim's Drop. Can he take the place into Hawthorne? They're side by side, banging door handles. This is what touring cars racing is all about. And the BMW has just a little bit more squirt down the straight and takes the 4th place. But I would say that's far from over. Lewis doing a great drive in 5th, but Liam is lurking in the background. They need to be mindful of that. Meanwhile, Ian's having more fun, and this time it's with Coleman. Just hearing that we had a late pit stop from Jeff actually, so Jeff's been removed from this battle. Is that an error to pit that late into the race? I don't know, but Coleman's through and now off, and Ian takes it straight back again. So as if you're going to make the move, you have to make it stick, and Ian predicted that, I think, because he positioned himself well to retake that place. Coleman a little bit naughty there with a track cut. He'll probably get a penalty for that. And Jeff and Ash flying on the new tyres, so Jeff's done that to cover off Ash, I think. And Jason can't really do much with his old tyres against these new tyres on the midfield runners. Battle for last place, and it's Chris coming into and off at Sheens, and he's lost the car, and it's going to be a big crash, and he's into the wall. He's redesigning Brands Hatch, and he's knocked over our marker. That's £100,000, please, Chris. We'll take it in instalments. Nathan there with Sean right on his bumper now, so Sean is coming back at him. We did say he wouldn't give up, and all this is allowing Ben to have a quite comfortable run at the front. That's quite a big gap in touring car racing. And Dylan with Lewis behind, but Liam is now closing on both of them, and very, very quickly. His new tyres will last him easily to the end of the race. He can push on them, whereas those guys will have to think about being careful in these last few laps. And we are entering the last few laps. Jeff now moving up on Andrew for 9th place. Jeff back into the points, and Andrew's a bit of a sit and duck again. He has the older tyres, and Jeff's through and takes the place nicely into Hawthorns. Just cover it off on the Derek Minter straight and into Westfield, and he has done. Andrew looking for a switchback, but it's not really going to get. He isn't going to get the drive, and Ash looks like he could also have a run at Andrew as we enter into paddock, and Nathan's closing in. This looks to me to be about the last lap. Ben leads, but he's just cruising to the end now. Nathan's having a late charge, but Sean's all over him. He needs to watch that. Sean's very, very good down into Graham Hill Bend and along the Cooper Straight. And yes, you can see, look, Sean's thinking about it. Surely he's just got to send one up the inside and think about switching to the outside, but he's braked too late and he's gone off at 30s. That's the end of that battle. Nathan should now have it in the bag for second, and Dylan looks like he's got fourth settled. Liam's moved past Lewis into fifth. We missed that. But Liam with a great, in the end, a great decision to pit, as is Jeff's moving into seventh. Ian up the inside trying to take the final point away from Andrew. Did he make it stick? No, he's lost the back end, but well held there. Still has half a lap to come back at Andrew. But Andrew's looking more and more secure for the last point, as into Sterling's for the last time and out of it towards Clark Curve. Nathan on the limit, Sean over the limit in his pursuit of Ben, but looks like Ben's going to win the BTCC SBR Legends first race here at Brands Hatch, first ever race, and it is going to be a win for the Ford Mondeo liveried car, ahead of Nathan in the Will Hoy liveried car and Gabriele Tarquini liveried car in third for Sean. Awesome race by those guys. Dylan fourth for BMW, fifth for Liam, and BMW Lewis arrives backwards in the Toyota for sixth. And Jeff with a great drive into seventh. He had a great battle with Ian all race, but he's pitted late on and it's giving him the advantage, and seventh place is his reward. Great result for Jeff, and Ash is very happy with eighth, Coleman ninth. Andrew will take the last point in 10th, and Ian 11th, Jason 12th. Unlucky for Jason, but I'm sure he'll be back in the reverse grid for the next race. Remember, that is the reverse grid. The whole grid is totally reversed. And there you have it. So it was Ben, Nathan, Sean, Dylan, Liam, Lewis, Jeff, Ashley, Coleman and Andrew taking the points, and we'll see you for the reverse grid in the next round at Brands Hatch.